Welcome to podcast Bahasa Dunia episode 1.
Hello Saling Friends, how are you today? Sekarang lagi podcast episode 1 nih. Ya jadi kita membahas mengenai English in real life. Sebelumnya kita mengundang juga untuk podcast hari ini ada speaker Miss Ima Matul Khair. Jadi kita nanti podcastnya bareng sama Miss Ima ya. Nah, Miss, gimana nih menurut Miss Ima mengenai English in real life?
Oke, teman-teman di sana yang mendengarkan kita berdua tentu penasaran kan bagaimana bahasa Inggris ini digunakan di dalam kehidupan sehari-hari kita. Nah, memang tidak terlalu banyak orang yang menggunakan bahasa Inggris di lingkungan masyarakat ya di Indonesia, tapi pasti ada sekelompok orang yang dia memang ingin mencoba nih Miss Siva untuk berbahasa Inggris dengan masyarakat sekitar. Nah, penggunaan bahasa Inggris di kehidupan sehari-hari tentunya akan lebih efektif kalau kita memang mempraktekannya, terutama misalnya dengan orang-orang terdekat, misalnya seperti anggota keluarga sendiri, atau teman ya, atau teman sejawat bekerja misalnya, itu lebih maksimal lagi nih proses belajar bahasa Inggrisnya. Jadi, bahasa Inggris yang digunakan di kehidupan sehari-hari itu sama seperti bahasa yang biasa kita gunakan, misalnya menggunakan bahasa Madura, bahasa Indonesia yang sudah menjadi darah daging kita mulai sejak lahir, begitu Miss Siva kurang lebih.
Oke, jadi English in real life nih penting banget buat keseharian kita kalau misalnya kita lagi di cafe ataupun juga banyak interview yang menggunakan bahasa Inggris sekarang kan Miss ya. Jadi juga kayak misalnya kita mau ke luar negeri traveling gitu, bahasa Inggris tuh sangat diperlukan lagi. Nah, gimana nih kalau misalnya kita latihan dulu atau gimana nih untuk bahasa Inggris keseharian gitu?
Boleh banget. Ayo kita praktekkan salah satu conversation atau percakapan dalam bahasa Inggris ya, yang kita gunakan biasanya untuk membicarakan tentang topik makanan. Berkaitan dengan makanan pasti teman-teman di sana juga ngiler ya. Oke, kita mulai ya. Hi Miss Siva, have you had your lunch yet?
Not yet. I was thinking of grabbing something quick, maybe soto. How about you, Missima?
Well, I'd love to eat Korean food anyway. Like you can mention tteokbokki, jjamyeon, or maybe ramyeon.
Nice. I never tried Korean food. Isn't it super spicy?
Well, that's a bit spicy though, but you should try it once.
Sounds interesting. But I usually stick Indonesian food.
Well, I think that I suggest you to maybe try tteokbokki sometimes.
Tteokbokki. I'm worried the tteokbokki is very spicy. But I ever tried sushi. I wasn't not sure to try, but I very like it.
Oh, that's a good start though.
Nah, jadi kayak gitu tuh, misalnya kalau misalnya, ingin percakapan bahasa Inggris dan mungkin kalian juga, ingin ngobrol sama orang luar negeri native gitu. Jadi seru kan, mereka ngomong apa, kita juga ngomong apa gitu. Nah, sekarang kita ingin bertanya-tanya nih sama Miss Ima, biar kita juga tahu informasi banyak banget, gimana sih bahasa Inggris di dunia kita sehari-hari ya. Oke, Miss, saya ingin nanya, what's the best way to start learning English for daily life situation?
Okay, basically, when you are learning a new foreign language, what you need to do is to practice it. In real life, you don't need to read all the time, but you need to practice it orally because there are some research or studies which mention that when you are speaking the language, you also, try to memorize it in your short-term and long-term memory. While you are practicing, you also need to learn like the theories about the language. For example, in English, we do have like the theory about syntax, like writing skills, reading skills, all of those skills. There are a lot of theories that discuss about those skills. And learning the theory isn't enough if you don't know how to practice it. So I think like combining both of them, when I know that English has, let's say, prefix and suffix, when I'm learning, like the vocabulary, for example, or like lexical choice, like I know exactly how I can structure, like the word. Like, for example, if I say, what else, like unofficial, for example, I know exactly that the meaning of unofficial is un plus official. So like un is no or negative, and then official is like legalized, so it's not legalized or it's not authorized yet. So that's gonna be easier for you if you are learning the language practically and also knowing the theory beyond it.
Jadi kuncinya kalian harus practice, practice, practice. Jadi ingin lancar kan kayak Miss Ima tuh kalau ngobrol bahasa Inggris gitu. Oke, Miss, untuk pertanyaan selanjutnya, how much time should someone spend practicing English every day?
Oke, sebenarnya untuk pertanyaan ini agak tricky ya, karena like every person has its own learning journey. So I couldn't really assume like how much time, but I read, from some references, what I read is that like at least a person can study minimally is 600 hours to learn a language. Well, probably it's really a lot. I don't know like how many days or years, to take, but at least for me, I've been taking like over, I think, like 15 to 20 years to learn, in English. So it's pretty amazing to know that every person has its learning journey. And if I maybe, ask somebody who is learning English from, their childhood, then they would be probably longer than me, right? Like if I'm asking like maybe like a child who learns English like since they are maybe 6, for example, then now they are in high school, for example, they might be taking like a little shorter than me. I'm starting my English journey and I would say elementary school. So yeah, so it's been very long to say.
Lalu untuk, is it better to focus on grammar first or just start speaking?
Okay, that's a good question anyway, Miss Sifa, because I remember one thing about, a baby talk. Do you remember that a baby does not read at the first place? They are not speaking at the first place as well, right? But they are listening, correct? So they are listening to their mom's voice, their dad's voice, and then they are also learning the language from that, auditorial sense. So I would say that the first skill that a baby is requiring when they are, learning a language is the listening skill. Do you get it? Right? Listening skill, right? And then after they are listening to the environment, voices, then they are going to learn how to speak. Basically, grammar isn't something that should be explicitly stated at the first beginning as like acquisition of the language, but when we are gonna make ourselves more aware of the situation and the context of the language, then the grammar is going to be the next step. So I would say that listening first, then speaking after that, grammar. Because like grammar is kind of like higher order thinking skill. So like when you are able to receive the information first, then you can produce it. If you don't receive the information, then you can't produce it. So that's gonna be like, I would say, like the flow of how we learn like a foreign language.
Jadi step by step ya, dari kalau mau belajar bahasa Inggris tuh misal dari bayi juga kan yang sudah dijelaskan oleh Miss Ima. Oke, Miss, I'm curious about, can you learn English naturally without taking a formal class?
Okay. That's also a good question. Everybody believes that they need to like learn themselves, but not many people can learn themselves, correct? Like most of the time, like around us, people will take like courses, or maybe like additional classes to learn a new language like English or other foreign languages. And then it's also effective to improve your kind of, like foreign language skill. Why? Because in a language course, or like in a like official language center, you can find like resources, good mentors, good buddies, companions, consultants as well, like to help you with the process of acquiring the language. That's why, like, taking a language class is an additional point where you can have or grab a lot of things, to improve your skill practically and theoretically. However, there are some people who are kind of independent learner, so they don't need like to get enrolled themselves to like an official language center, which is good anyway, but not all of us can do that. There is only like maybe like 1% of 100, like people, right? To be able to learn independently because they have good resources from their parents, or maybe they have good like school environment, so they can interact with their friends in English or other languages too.
Okay, sometimes I feel confused that about how can learners practice in speaking English if they don't live in an English-speaking country.
Even if you live in a speaking country, you are not guaranteed to speak the language fluently. Why? Because you don't speak the language like actively. That's why you can speak the language yourself. Then I would suggest that for those who don't live in a like English speaking country, then you should kind of find a good way to gather with the same people who are also pursuing the same thing, which is like, for example, locating yourself in a study group, or probably like an online course or offline course. At our company, Australia Indonesia, we do provide these classes because we know that our clients or students are kind of searching for these opportunities, to improve their access to language learning. So that's why it's pretty much, I would say, valuable, like to search for that community for your self improvement. Sometimes people are worried about, like the price, right? Like the price, or like I would say like the demands of the administrative processes. But I think it's pretty normal. Like if you want to get like something more, like resources, then of course you need to again like pay more, or like like sometimes you need also kind of additional support that are of course chargeable. If not, then you can't access those needs, right? Like, or those resources. So I think for those who are still wondering, why should I take English courses with that expensive price, well, you will gain something more than that after you finish your program later.
Okay, Miss, do you think shadowing, like repeating after a speaker, really works?
Okay. Um, I still remember that one thing that I did when I was in college is that shadowing. Shadowing means like meniru percakapan dalam bahasa Inggris biasanya nih, Miss Siva. Jadi misalnya kita melihat sebuah video ya, kemudian videonya di situ berbicara dalam bahasa Inggris ya, terutama bagi speakers yang dalam video ini memang memiliki bahasa pertama yaitu bahasa Inggris, then we try to mimic their intonation, pronunciation, and other stuff, yeah, especially the emotion as well. Sometimes, like expressions, like facial expressions. Sometimes we need to mimic them, and it's pretty, I would say, like helpful for us to practice our pronunciation and intonation because we listen and we redo what they do. So I think that untuk yang kesulitan berbicara ya atau speaking in English, ini bisa jadi salah satu metode untuk kalian semua agar bisa menirukan nih. Nah, menirukan hal-hal apa saja yang sekiranya membuat sulit ketika berbicara dalam bahasa Inggris. Terutama misalnya pengucapan huruf R ya, yang biasanya orang Indonesia seringkali lupa bagaimana nih caranya untuk menirukan bunyi R dalam bahasa Inggris. Nah, ini menjadi salah satu tantangan yang kita hadapi sebagai bilingual speaker.
Oke, jadi step by step kayak tadi ya, we listen and then we do ya. Terus, oke yang terakhir nih Miss, pertanyaan terakhir, how can someone overcome the fear of making mistakes while speaking? Ini banyak banget nih untuk practicing yang baru juga paling banyak takut untuk salah gitu melakukan speaking.
Betul. Kalau kita mencoba bahasa baru ya, biasanya kita cenderung untuk tidak mau mengatakannya. Nah, tapi percaya atau tidak ya teman-teman, ternyata kalau misalnya kita lebih aktif menggunakan bahasa tersebut secara oral ya atau secara speaking, maka berapa persennya itu akan masuk ke otak kita, entah itu short term ataupun long term. Jadi kalian bisa buktikan nanti ya. Contohnya misalnya ada anak yang dia itu menggunakan oral skill-nya mereka ya untuk mimic tadi atau shadow kalimat yang diucapkan dalam bahasa asing, kemudian dibandingkan dengan anak yang tidak melakukan shadowing sama sekali. Kita bisa lihat kualitas berbicaranya itu lebih bagus yang mana. Nah, jadi sebenarnya proses belajar dari mulai dari kita kecil ya sampai sekarang itu banyak sekali yang berkaitan dengan oral atau speaking begitu ya. Dan salah-salah pun juga tidak apa-apa. Kenapa? Like shadowing biasanya dilakukan oleh perorangan ya kan, misalnya kita di dalam ruang kelas tidak ada orang kemudian kita ingin coba gitu kan, siapa yang tahu kalau kita berbicara sendiri atau kayak misalnya we are in our room for example, then sometimes you also have nothing to do, right? Kemudian mau mencoba, oke, saya mencoba nih bagaimana mengucapkan kata ini dalam bahasa yang saya sukai ya, dalam bahasa Inggris, bahasa Jepang, Korea dan lain-lain misalnya. So it will work mostly for people who are practicing the language like regardless of the mistakes. Jadi saran dari Miss Ima adalah bagi pemula bahasa Inggris ya ataupun bahasa lainnya, jangan takut untuk men-shadow atau melakukan mirroring terhadap speakers dari bahasa tersebut. Nah, tanpa adanya mirroring ya ataupun shadowing, biasanya bahasa yang mau dikuasai ini tidak lekas tersampaikan ke dalam otak kita. Begitu kira-kira Miss Siva.
Oke, itu bermanfaat banget ya buat kita untuk speaking bahasa Inggris gitu. Jadi nggak perlu takut lagi untuk speaking gitu ya. Oke, now we talk about speaking and fluency. I would like to ask you about what are some common mistakes learners make in casual conversation.
Well, I can think of grammatical mistakes such as like the use of tenses, like how we transition between the moments we are talking about something in the past, in the present, and also in the future. Sometimes people are kind of, interchangeably use this kind of sentences or tenses. However, again, like in English, the context or the meaning of the sentences are really influenced by the tenses. If you're talking about a moment in the past, but we are using present tense, for example, then maybe, people who perceive that like sentence or let's say moment would think that the moment is happening right now or probably like happen in the future if you are not like using the right tenses. So that's why like using the right tenses are pretty much helpful to give the contextual meaning of what we say, right? That's the first one. And then the second one is that I would say probably pronunciation. Like for bilingual speakers, pronunciation is the hardest thing to do in speaking. I can tell that why we are kind of challenged to do this because our sound system, and the way we talk, like the mechanism in our mouth, works differently from when we are talking another language. And like a language will have their own sound system, right? In Indonesian, we do have our own sound system. In Madurese, we do have it as well. But if we transition our like sound system to another like language sound system, then sometimes we are kind of weird, so, because we lack of practice. So again, like my recommendation, my best tip is that try to speak like like voice out whatever you think about the topic that you want to try. And then if you're learning a vocabulary, just voice it out. Do not feel doubt, like whether somebody will criticize you. The thing is that you need to practice yourself before other comment on you, right?
Okay, the last one about speaking and fluency. Do you think speaking with other learners is helpful, or should you aim to talk only with native speaker?
Okay. That's a false mindset, I would say. If you are finding a native speaker in Madura, then you will not find it unless maybe, like one in a million, right? But if you have the mindset that whenever and wherever and whoever I am interacting with, I can still talk in English. I still can, practice my English in English sound system, for example. So I don't need to find like a native speaker to talk to just because I want to improve my English skills. I think that here we can find people who want to, speak English with us, but sometimes they are kind of shy. Begitu nggak sih orang Indonesia ya? Begitu come up dengan suatu bahasa baru ya, ternyata mereka dikritik ya. Kenapa? Karena bahasanya aneh di telinga orang lain. But we don't mind ya. Like critics, I would say like critic is something that makes me better somehow. Like kalau misalnya kritiknya positif, I would say like that's gonna be my like absolute appreciation. But kalau misalnya negatif, that should be something that I need to kind of improve. Like misalnya dikritiknya kamu ngomong pakai bahasa Inggrisnya jangan kaku-kaku dong. Then how should I make myself like fluently speak the language without really like burdening with the pronunciation, for example. Jadi jangan takut ya untuk mencari teman berbicara dalam bahasa Inggris. So I think that persepsi kalau kita harus mencari native speaker ya di lingkungan kita itu tidak relevan lagi di zaman sekarang ya, apalagi kita sudah punya social media, kemudian internet, YouTube ya, yang bisa membantu kita untuk come up dengan topik-topik yang dibahas oleh native speaker or non-native speaker. Jadi himbauannya adalah kita semua harus bisa menghargai sebuah bahasa ya secara natural, artinya kita tidak memilih teman ya untuk berbicara selagi kita memang mendapatkan proses berbahasa itu sendiri di situ. Begitu kurang lebih.
Oke, karena pertanyaan udah habis, jadi English in real life tuh penting banget juga buat kita nanti ngobrol sama native, ataupun juga mau banyak bahasa gaul sekarang tuh pakai bahasa Inggris, apalagi juga di sosial media Misima tuh banyak banget kayak social butterfly juga itu banyak lagi. Oh ya juga banyak banget. Nah kalau misalnya di bahasa Inggris diartikan satu-satu kan nggak lucu ya Misima ya, jadi kan artinya beda gitu kan. Nah belajar bahasa Inggris juga dari seperti yang kata Miss Ima juga bilang, we listen, we do gitu. Jadi nggak usah takut buat ngobrol bahasa Inggris. Kalau misalnya dapat kritik gitu kan, bisa improve gitu, improve yang lebih baik gitu. Oke, kira-kira apa nih pesan-pesan untuk saling friends untuk belajar bahasa Inggris in their life? Gitu.
Oke, buat saling friends ya, tentunya kita harus bisa menemukan resource terbaik di sekitar kita ya untuk belajar bahasa asing. Resource yang bisa kita temukan yaitu resource di pusat pembelajaran bahasa asing seperti halnya di Sastra Lingua Indonesia. Di Sastra Lingua Indonesia tipe-tipe kelasnya pun juga berbeda-beda tergantung dari kebutuhan saling friends semuanya. Kami memiliki berbagai tingkatan kelas ya, mulai dari balita, anak, kemudian remaja serta dewasa untuk kelas bahasa Inggris secara general. Kemudian juga ada nih kelas bahasa Inggris yang memang diperuntukkan untuk mahasiswa, pekerja ya atau pegawai yang dia itu berniat untuk ke S2 nih Miss Siva atau ke S3 ya yang mau lanjut untuk studi ke yang lebih tinggi jenjangnya. Nah, kita juga ada nih program-program semacam itu. Apalagi ditunjang dengan ujian resminya juga dan juga prediksi yang ada di sastra lingua. Ada TOEFL prediction test, kemudian ada juga IELTS prediction test, hingga yang resmi itu semuanya ada di sastra lingua. Jadi kurang apa lagi resource yang kami berikan kepada kalian semua. Tinggal bagaimana caranya kalian ya saling friends semuanya bisa memanfaatkan dan mengakses resource ini sebaik mungkin.
Wah, jadi di Sastra Lingua tuh banyak banget program layanannya. Kira-kira daftarnya susah nggak kalau di Sastra Lingua untuk kayak misalnya tes bahasa Inggrisnya itu gimana sih Miss Ima?
Ya, biasanya kan orang ribet dengan administrasi ya, Miss Iva. Aduh, saya juga pusing kalau soal administrasi. Nah, tapi nih di Sastra Lingua Indonesia administrasinya no ribet banget ya. Jadi, teman-teman bisa langsung menghubungi admin dan nanti akan dipandu harus mengisi apa saja. Bahkan nih admin kami akan memberikan ya layanan khusus. Layanan khususnya apa? Biasanya mengisikan data dirinya melewat sebuah apps, tidak perlu lagi klien yang harus melakukan, nanti admin kami yang akan menghandle semuanya. Jadi klien hanya tinggal ya duduk menunggu ya jadwal tesnya nanti akan keluar, kemudian mengerjakan tes seperti biasa, dan soal administrasi itu sudah jadi bukan masalah lagi gitu.
Jadi simple banget kalau daftar di Sastra Lingua Indonesia. Jadi mending ke Sastra Lingua Indonesia aja kalau misalnya kalian butuh tes atau pelatihan bahasa asing. Nah, oke, kali ini kita udah selesai nih Miss Ima untuk podcastnya. Terima kasih banyak udah memberikan inspirasi untuk kita semua, khususnya saling friends ya, mengenai English in real life. Jadi kata kuncinya jangan takut buat ngomong bahasa Inggris. Apalagi juga banyak banget sekarang tuh apa-apa serba bahasa Inggris gitu. Oke, mungkin penutupannya tunggu di episode kedua ya. Jadi nanti kita ada podcast lagi nih, mungkin dari speaker lainnya atau Miss Ima nih yang mengisi. Jadi oke, sekian dari saya dan juga Miss Imamatul Khair. Selamat jumpa.